Good morning, everybody, from a under construction Parliament Hill. We got some seagulls and geese. This morning, am touring the House of Commons. If I can find the check-in spot. It says the check-in spot is 111 Wellington. Little did I know, that's the entirety of Parliament Hill. The buildings are very impressive. I don't know if you can tell through the fence, but this place is really ripped up. There's actually a few different buildings under construction, including Center Block. That's where the bulk of construction's taking place. But a couple other buildings too that are blocked off. It is really cool to see the Canadian geese. I hate birds. Geese being close to the top of the list. So I'm not going to get any closer, but you don't often see them out in the wild. There's a few down by Niagara Falls, but otherwise, no, you don't see them too often. Got a bunch over here as well. With some seagulls. I think if I had to rank birds for which ones I like the least, seagulls are at the top of the list. Geese are number 2. This is 1 and 2. Then ducks and pigeons. I don't know what any of you watching are supposed to do with that information. I just felt like sharing that. So I have a little bit of time before my tour starts, so I'm just walking around Parliament Hill. If you're in the same situation where you have time to kill, you're just kind of walking around, the construction walls outside of Center Building have some educational learnings on them. So if you're bored, look at the construction walls. You might learn something new about Canadian government. Even parts of the lawn in front of the Senate blocked off. I don't really understand why. Maybe there's pipes or something in that area that relate to the construction going on in front of Center Building, Center Block, whatever it's called. Got a little bit of selfie action going on here. So if you're wondering if this is a real fire, it definitely is. Very, very warm when you move in front of the direction that the flame is blowing. It's cool that they built it within the fountain. This lady over here is trying to get a selfie, and she's been trying for 5 minutes. The detail in these buildings is pretty amazing. You have a lot of parliamentary protective services out here. One car here, there's like 3 over there. They're on guard 24/7. So we have one of the officers driving by here. As cool of a job I think that would be, like sitting in a car for an entire shift. You got blood clots. Just to give some context, I was the only person out here like 20 minutes ago. So around 8 a.m. it starts to get a little busier. Construction. So if you happen to be in Ottawa while construction on Parliament Hill is still ongoing and are taking a House of Commons tour, don't be fooled from a distance. This area looks like it's all blocked off. It's actually not. You have to walk through this fence here, and that's where kind of the check-in for the House of Commons tour is. So you just walk right through this gate and make a right. You can actually kind of see where the check-in tent is, the top of the check-in tent. All right, I'm gonna go check in for the tour. So I just got out of the House of Commons tour. As I predicted, you're not allowed to film in there, but the tour guide said something interesting. He said that Center Block, that's what it's called, Center Block, I think I said Center Building earlier, has been under construction since 2018, and the construction will not be completed until 2032. Now, I understand that building restoration takes some time, but 15 years? I don't know. That seems like a very, very long time. I guess I'll have to come back in 2033 to see the restored Center Block. And the House of Commons and the Senate will be moved back into Center Block once the restoration is complete. The Senate is not in the East Block. It's actually over here, number 4. That's the Senate, and that's by the canal. So where I was over here, I was looking at the Ottawa River. Someone is screaming and yelling over there. I think it's a protester. So this building here is the West Block. This is where the House of Commons is temporarily located. I was just in this building. I'm now standing behind the West Block. So this is the temporary House of Commons. Wasn't allowed to film, as I just mentioned, but I did get some pictures, so I'll put the pictures in now. It was kind of cool to see, but I definitely would have to come back, I don't know, maybe in 2033 when it's back in center block because I feel like that's the iconic building. Kind of like this tree. You can literally see the leaves changing colors. That's very cool. Here is the Rideau Canal. Rideau? I don't know how to say it. But it's the canal. They offer boat tours. I'm not doing one this trip, but sure, it's beautiful. I think this is the canal. But now that I'm saying that, I'm not entirely sure. All right, you got the statue of Lester B. Pearson. I'm going to assume that is who the airport is named after, but I don't want to confirm that because I don't know if that's entirely true. That's just, I feel like a pretty good assumption. Again, just to give you an idea of the construction. It's, there's a lot going on. The statues are definitely grand. They're not small. They're definitely life size. Bigger than life size. They're trying to get this dog to sit so they can take a picture of the dog. Oh, there you go. Nope. So there's an area here, kind of behind the visitor center where I check in for the tour. Right next to center block, kind of an observation deck. Really nice views. And it's kind of out of the way, so there's not a lot of people back here, which is nice. All right, well, that's going to do it for me here on Parliament Hill. Again, apologies I couldn't film the tour, but that was a strict rule. But I got to show you what the outside looks like. So hope you enjoy, and we'll see you next time. All right, I'm just down the street from the Parliament Hill and walked by a bear eating a fish with the cub down there, hoping for crumbs. Walking back to my hotel, passed by a nice statue of Terry Fox. Oh, this is funny. You got the Ottawa sign. So if I was with another person, or I can put my phone down if I really wanted to, I would stand where the other T is supposed to be and spread my arms. All right, I came down by the lock system that heads into the canal. When I got the shot in the previous clip, or the previous video, I was standing right up there. Pretty wild that there's like no fence or anything here. Now you can really just jump in if you really want, or get pushed in if somebody feels they're pushing you in. It's very cool to see. I was kind of hoping a boat was going to come. We could see the lock system in action, but I don't think that's in the cards. What appears to be a bird's nest alongside a pumpkin on this lock. Really bizarre. It also smells terrible down here. It appears that you can just walk right upon the doors to the locks. Step up here and then you're in the middle there. I'm not going to do that. A little terrifying, but strange that the public can. I can tell you, to get down to where I just was, a lot of fucking stairs. So we did have one slight situation with the tour. So it was a guided tour. However, at the end of the tour, the guide said, listen, this isn't part of the guided tour. However, if you want to go look in the war room, you're more than welcome to. Oh look, something's going up there. I respect the troops, so I said, yeah, absolutely, I'll go look at the war room. So I go in, I look. The issue is when I came back out, I got a little screwed up. I couldn't find the exit. So I happened to come across a door that has an exit sign in front of it. So I'm like, okay, this is where the exit to get outside is. So I go into this room, walking around, I don't see a door to get outside. Next thing I know, there's like 3 guards being like, what the fuck are you doing? And I'm like, I'm trying to find the exit. There's an exit sign in front of this door, but I'm not seeing the way out. And they're like, no, you're nowhere near the exit. And they had to chauffeur me out. It probably looked ridiculously sus. So that was a little bit of a debacle, but I made it out. Well, I think I was kind of kicked out, but nonetheless.